A federally funded program designed to help Maine SNAP-eligible residents learn how to shop, cook, and eat healthy on a budget is coming to an end at the end of the month. The nutrition education program known as Maine SNAP Ed, which served more than 21,000 Mainers last year, will end all programming on September 30th. Officials say this decision is a result of federal funding cuts following the passage of the budget reconciliation bill. For more than 30 years, nutrition educators have led more than 7,500 classes, reaching nearly 22,000 youth and adults. We spoke with Heather Paquette, president of Good Shepherd Food Bank, Maine's largest hunger relief organization. They work with SNAP educators throughout the state to teach their nutrition education classes. 80% of their classes are taught by people who are funded by SNAP Ed.
We do all of our work through our partner agencies. We partner with over 600 partners throughout the state of Maine. If there is a person in a community who's looking to experience the Cooking Matters nutrition classes, we would encourage them to reach out to their closest partner agency that we work with. The curriculum will continue to be included and to be available to our partner agencies and the neighbors who attend those partner agencies. The challenge is we no longer have the staff of teachers to teach the curriculum, so it would be reliant on volunteers.
She says they will offer a small portion of classes led by volunteers, but she adds the class size will be smaller with the lack of funding.